Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Miller, and today I'm going to talk about something very similar to subject and predicate, which is run-on sentence. A lot of times in 4th grade, when we get a group of students from 3rd grade, one of the struggles that they have is putting periods in the right place. And it's very easy as a teacher to get frustrated by students who aren't putting periods in their paper and say things like, "Where are your periods?" or "Is this all one sentence?" or "I want you to read through this and tell me where the period should go." The reality is, if they're not using periods, they need to be taught subject and predicate. And a period is basically a dividing line between groups of subjects and predicates. So once students understand that a sentence is a complete idea with an action and a doer of that action, or a subject and a predicate, a noun and a verb, however you teach it, once students understand that, then they can go and say, okay, a period is just to divide up the different thoughts in my paper. Doesn't mean that the thought in the next sentence can't be a similar thought or an extension of the thought from the previous sentence. It just means it's dividing up groups of subjects and predicates. So if a student has an entire page with no period, what they have is a run-on sentence. And students should be using that language, a run-on sentence. A run-on is when you have 2 or more sentences in one paragraph or one page without periods where they're supposed to go. So sometimes I know it's hard to teach run-ons because it's not as fun or enjoyable as teaching capitalization or irregular verbs or homophones. Some of those things can be incorporated in activities more than run-on sentences. But anyways, the way that I teach it is I take text, possibly even from a book in the classroom or a release STAAR test, copy and paste, and I do 2 things. I get rid of all the periods, and I turn the capitalized words that were capitalized because they were the beginning of the sentence, and I turn them lowercase so that students aren't hinted that a new sentence is started. And then I just ask them to explore. So if you're engaging students and getting them curious about what they notice and what they observe, your engagement is going to skyrocket. So one of the things that I do is I put it on the board and I ask them to find a whiteboard and a partner. So you can do this exploration with partnerships or table groups or however you want to do it. But it shouldn't be individualized when students are exploring. It should be something they can talk about. So what I've done here is I've taken the first 3 sentences from the passage about rhinos from the 2019 4th grade writing test. I'm going to read it first, and then I'm going to explain what I would do with it. It says, "The rhinoceros is a huge mammal that is native to Africa and Asia. This animal can grow to more than 6 feet tall and can weigh up to 6,000 pounds. Although it has very stumpy legs, it can run as fast as 35 miles an hour." Now, I wouldn't read it out loud as the teacher because you may have noticed that I paused where periods would go just because I understand the natural flow of this paragraph. But if you have a kid or a student who is given these 3 sentences without any periods or without any capitalization, then they're naturally trying to find where ideas become different. And if you notice, the first one says where they live. The second sentence says they can grow to be a certain size, and the third one says how far they can run. That's because I pulled this from the introduction paragraph, right? It's giving us some different topics that might be talked about in the passage. But by taking away the periods and taking away the capitalization for sentence starters and letting kids explore, they'll start to put periods where they need to go. And then you do what's called transfer. If I can do it with someone else's writing, someone else's good writing, then I can go back and I can do it with my own. And that's when you start to pull small groups with those students and ask them, where do your sentences start and where do they end? Because they know that subject and predicate is the entire puzzle piece that goes to make one sentence. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to be posting videos all the way up until STAAR, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. All right, peace.